Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our art and craft of rigor and resonance. We'll take a moment to get everybody out of the waiting room to the large room. So glad to be here with all of you. It's such a pleasure. Oh, I think we're all here. Hello and welcome. My name is Sarah Peyton, and you have joined our free class today, The Art of Rigor and the Craft of Resonance. And what we're going to be doing today is taking a look at the very most important fundamentals that are part of entering a resonant language space. And we're going to be talking about how when two people come together, they begin to co-create a living field that becomes over time becomes actually tangible to you. And that if you practice resonance with rigor, you can keep this field alive and growing, and all kinds of amazing brain things happen for both people in a field that is created with resonance. We'll talk about some of the science of this today, and we'll do exercises and breakout rooms. I'm going to introduce Jaya Mansky, first of all, and then I'll do a quick introduction also of Gayatri and Lori, who are here for the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. But Jaya, hello. Jaya has been my co-creator and very best buddy in the creation of resonance and resonant language classes. And she agreed. She's in Hawaii, so it's 5:00 in the morning. You can see from the dark window behind her head that it's still dark there, but I'm very grateful that she's here. Jaya, please tell us anything you'd like us to know.
Hi, welcome everyone. So today I'm here in the capacity of running Zoom and holding space in this session. The main places you can reach to me if you have any specific requests or if you're having any trouble with the call, please reach out to me. Or if you find yourself in any kind of distress, we do have some assistance available, but because of the size of the class, we will be using them primarily to support Sarah with the demonstrations. And then if someone's having a very difficult time during regular classes, should you have joined us in the past or should you choose to join us in the future, assistants are here in such a wonderful supportive role of being able to offer resonant support during class times. Or support during breakout sessions. Again, during this session, my anticipation is that because of the size of it, I'll be using assistance as needed, but not as requested. So yes, and then the other place where you can reach to me is if you have a question during today's session. There will be some time for questions, but probably not as much as we need. If you have a question that is that feels too vulnerable to ask, you can send it either in chat or raising your hand. You can send it to me privately and I'll ask anonymously on your behalf. This call is being recorded and will be placed up on YouTube. So please be aware that this will become a publicly available call. So if you choose to unmute or participate in any way, just know that, just check with yourself to make sure you have consent. Breakout room sessions are not recorded. So on that note, if during this call there will be some breakout rooms, I anticipate them being relatively large groups for you to be able to experience this material. One or two of you may get a chance to work. If you know that you are not available to do breakout rooms, it would support me and the other participants on this call if you place an equal sign in front of your name. This will allow me to put you into, it'll help me to put you into a quiet room, so that you're not in a practice space, and so that there's no one left alone. Although again, with a group this size, very unlikely people will be left alone. So, and you would be surprised. Sarah, is there anything else that you'd like me to?
That was perfect. Thank you, Jaya.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. And happy Father's Day, and thank you for joining us, despite the fact that the day that we found that worked for select members of the team was actually Father's Day. Just acknowledging that and bowing to everybody who is here, Father's Day in the U.S. I want to introduce Gayatri and Lori, who are both, and if we just spotlight them, Jaya, that would be amazing, because then people will be able to see them. We'll talk with them more at the end of our presentation. We'll do a regular class for about 2.5 hours, and then we'll go ahead and we'll have a presentation about the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. For those of you who are interested, you can stay on. And of course, this recording will be available on YouTube, so you'll be able to see it. And so, Gayatri and Lori, thank you for being here. Would you just like to say welcome to everyone before we move into the class?
Yes, welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be here and see you all here.
Same, yes. Thank you for spending your morning, your evening with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, both of you. All right. So I'm going to open the slide deck, and then we'll be able to go to work on our learning. So here we are with the art of rigor and the craft of resonance. And I'd just like to quickly acknowledge that the land that I live on, most particularly the land that belonged to the Chinook peoples, was taken by false treaty, and that I do donations to the Chinook Nation in honor of them. Our plan for today is that we've done our welcome. We're going to talk about what is rigor, what is resonance, why is it important, and we're going to do a lot of experiential exploration. So you'll be in groups, probably groups of between 2 and 4, where you'll get to begin to practice what I'm talking about, so that you can start to feel in your bodies the difference between the experience of resonance and everything else that we do in our daily lives. And then we'll end up, as I said, with some info session about the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. So our intentions today are to give everyone an experience of resonance as something different from ordinary language, and also to introduce the guardrails, so to speak, of resonant language and the beauty of staying within them. And then thirdly, to help folks who are interested in the certification program, the Resonant Healing Practitioner program, to enter the program with excitement and anticipation about the rigor and focus requests that are made of participants in that program. So, yeah, there, my slides are moving all around. The rigor and focus required for the year of practice. So, what is resonance, and why is it important? Resonance is a two-person system. Empathy and compassion, we can do those all by ourselves. We can be driving in a car past someone who we see is crying. We can have tremendous empathy for them. We can go home and take action to support their lives if we know that they're part of a particular group that we can contribute to financially or politically. And that's, empathy and compassion. But we don't have to actually have relationships to have empathy and compassion with people. And in addition, we can have difficult experiences all by ourselves. And these difficult experiences can stay in our bodies for decades. This is a wonderful metaphor that Dan Miller and I developed yesterday, that Dan developed yesterday. The resonance, he said, is a two-person system. He said, I like the idea of the little droplets of water running down and coming off the leaf. And if you're alone, then there's just one droplet of water coming off one leaf into a puddle, and you just make your own rings, and nothing changes. It's just the rings of your memory. And nothing changes, because human bodies need emotional accompaniment to be able to integrate hard stuff. This is a famous photograph of a soldier with a 10,000 yard stare, 10,000 mile stare. With resonance, another person is entering the experience with us, and those rings of memory are changed. They're changed in the living field that we are co-creating with another person. And the attuned presence of another person changes everything. Attunement, attuned presence. What's attuned presence? Attunement is when we bring our attention to another person and let ourselves be changed by them. Attunement, this is Daniel Siegel. He writes, attunement requires presence, but is a process of focused attention and clear perception. And then he writes, we, with a period after it, that we are co-creating the we of attunement. So when we give our attention to another person, our brains and our vital signs actually shift to align with what's happening with them. But before we shift, if we're paying attention, we experience the welcome attunement. And when we're changed by warmth about or delight that the other person exists. Warmth about them existing or delight that they exist. So our first exercise is actually to learn to and practice letting yourself be changed by another person in welcome. This is foundational. It's foundational for so many reasons. I was like, should I go down this entire road of warmth for the art of rigor? What you need to know about warmth is that it's highly dismissed and discounted in the world of North America and Europe. And you can think about whether it's highly dismissed and discounted in the countries that you're in and more familiar with than I am. And it's considered unnecessary, but what warmth and welcome do for human nervous systems, makes me cry, is they allow us to move into the part of the nervous system that's called social engagement or ventral vagal by Stephen Porges. And in this nervous system state, we get to have our maximum use of our brain, of our body, of our immune system. We get to be who we authentically are. And everything begins to come together in this place, but it's a rare place in our world because we don't realize the degree to which our nervous systems as humans actually need to be warmly welcomed. So this is foundational for resonance because this co-creation of the field requires that we actually like the other person. It can be a sort of a theoretical liking because, of course, we won't know them when we're put into the breakout room with people we've never met before. But so we don't know them to like them specifically, but they are another being whose brain has hundreds of trillions of neural connections, another being who is surprising, who is a whole discovery process, who is in many ways an infinite system because, of course, of our creativity and the ways that we move and change, and how everyone, as they begin to experience resonance, becomes more and more their own individual being. So if we start to notice that everyone can change us if we let them, this is the starting point for intentional attunement, which is an essential part of resonance and accompaniment. Welcoming others is also a daily practice that changes the world and inoculates the people you care about against depression and a sense of meaninglessness, which is, of course, of huge importance during this time in our lives. So what if you're going, wait, I'm not delighted by humans. I am terrified of humans, or I am coldly distant and suspicious of humans, or I am heavily neutral about humans until they prove themselves. So what we're starting to notice here is, of course, as we enter the world of resonance, we have to enter the world of trauma healing. We actually cannot go into the part of the brain that deepens and expands and starts to really juicily understand that other people exist without dealing with our trauma. The same places that hold the capacity for resonance and intuition, deep creativity, the emergence of self, these places are the same parts of the brain that have the trauma memories in them. So we get to acknowledge this. We get to say, okay, when I try to do a welcome attunement, I need to take a moment to be with my terror and acknowledge it and be kind to my terror or my coldness or my suspicion. And then I get to put it aside and move perhaps just into the theoretical idea and understanding that the other person is a being, and that I commit to welcome them. So now we're going to actually try this out. I'll do this as a demo, and I'll do this in a small group because you may have 3 or 4 people in your group. If you just have 2, then don't worry about the etc. in the instructions. But I'd love to have some assistants who are willing to be recorded and be on the recording. Raise their hands for me, Zoom hands for me, and then we'll put you on the spotlight, and then we'll do this with a couple of assistants. I need at least 2. Okay, Dorothy and Gail, wonderful. So we'll bring Dorothy and Gail to be spotlight. Okay, wonderful.
They're already spotlit.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, and then we have these breakout activities, and this one is called Letting Yourself Be Changed by and Change Other in Welcome. It's in the chat, and when you go into the breakout rooms, you'll have to reopen the chat to be able to see the instructions. But the instructions are very important, especially today, because today we're talking about rigor, which means that we're talking about staying with what we're being asked to do in the breakout rooms. So, so Gail and I are going to be attuning to Dorothy in welcome. So we find our own body sensations within our torso, throat, and face. Torso is the belly and the chest, throat and face. So just like Gail and I, just to let you know that we've found them, are just going to say like what we're like without paying attention to Dorothy. So we're not paying any attention to Dorothy yet because we need to know, and this is part of our rigor, is the movement to self-connection. So we need to know how our bodies are doing before we pay attention to another person. That's the only way we can know that we're being changed. So my belly is like a little bit tight with all the focus and my longing for superhuman levels of clarity and warmth. And my heart feels very sort of bubbly and a little excited. and I have a little bit of tension in my throat and like a lot of focused care in my face. And Gail, just one word each for your belly, your chest, your throat, your face. Oh, we need to, I'll take you off mute, Gail. I'm sorry.
You'll have to invite them off, Sarah, because I have them automatic.
Oh, okay, okay.
I feel a swirl in my belly, rising up to my heart, expanding, and then freedom in my throat, a little tightness in my jaw, and a little dry eye is what I'm feeling.
Thank you. Now, Gail and I, we are A, etc. You may notice here that A, etc. means the other people who are not B in the group. Now we bring our attention to Dorothy and we allow our conscious attention of Dorothy's existence to change our body sensations, or if we don't get body sensations, our thoughts. So we look in particular for the places where we soften or become warmer in welcome. We're looking for the information for Dorothy that our bodies recognize and welcome her. And those are things like softening, gentling, warming, rising. Those are some of the things that happen when we welcome another being. And as I bring my attention to Dorothy, there's like an expansion and a widening that goes out past my body. And even it has like a visual of being wonderful words and letters and lovely language and poetry. And that's what happens for me. Gail, what happens for you in welcome of Dorothy?
Feel like a huge smile on my face, a beam of light arising from my heart, and my stomach is doing like happy flips.
Oh, thank you. Dorothy, how is it to have someone be changed by you in welcome?
Oh, it's very, very welcome. I notice some just the edges of tears in my eyes on hearing you both, and oh, just a settling in my body and delight to be with you both.
Wonderful.
Mm.
And then in the group, we would rotate so that Gail got a chance to be welcomed and so that Sarah got a chance to be welcomed. Now, we won't give you a whole lot of time for this because we've got a big program for our 3 hours together. But we will give you 12 minutes so that you have 4 minutes each. And I'd like, while Jaya is arranging things, I'd just like to say that if I didn't have any body sensations, I would notice how my thoughts changed. So here I am with my thoughts. My thoughts are like, what am I remembering? What am I forgetting? What are my lists? And as I bring my attention to Dorothy, then my thoughts start to make funny little curious spirals. So there's a way that my thoughts change. And then I also wanted to model if I had a terror of other people. So then I would say, okay, Dorothy, I just want to prepare you that I have a terror of other people, but I'm going to try to go through that. Hang on a moment. I'm just going to give myself a second for full terror. Okay, got it. I'm just going to acknowledge that I make sense and that my terror makes sense. I'm just going to put that to the side for a moment and I'm just going to see if I can catch that you are an infinite being over there. Okay, I caught a little bit of sparkle right at my collarbone. So there you go. There's a way to move towards it and still hold the truth of your experience. All right. Well, Jaya, tell me, are we more or less ready?
It's a pretty large group, so I'm going through. If you have sent me a private message asking to be renamed, if you put that in the public chat, then both Lori and Gayatri can catch you. And I will have things ready, I think, in the next minute or two.
Okay, wonderful.
And
Now,
so if you asked for no breakout room and you still get an invitation to room, you can just not go. It's okay. I have enough people in the rooms, I think, for it to happen.
thank you very much, Jaya. And in the regular class, if a participant is doing a demo with me, then we actually do a needs met and gifts received round, which we won't do today, just in order. That's why I'm using our beloved assistants to help me with the demos. But I'll say a need met and a gift received for me. So Dorothy, need met for connection and delight. And Gail, need met for partnership and care. Thank you both so much. All right, and now we'll take
Two more words about needs met and gifts received while I finish up.
Sure. So, gift needs met and gifts received are a way of the people who are with the person who is vulnerable, expressing their gratitude in a language that is comprehensible and clear and founded in body information. Because when we are vulnerable, when we are the ones that are the focus of the resonant attention, and we start to speak about things that are quite different from what is usually spoken of in regular everyday conversation. Like in regular everyday conversation, for example, we rarely are welcomed. I was at my physical therapist, and one of the women is leaving, who's been my assistant in the physical therapy, and I told her how much I would miss her, and she turned all pink. she turned completely pink, and it's just so rare, that we receive appreciation and feedback that we exist and that we're contributing and that we matter. And so this is what we do. So part one of what we do with the feelings, with needs met and gifts received, is we catch the person who's been vulnerable. But part two of what we do is for us. When we go to needs met and gifts received, it takes us out of our comparing brain. It takes us out of our judging brain and brings us into the right temporal parietal junction of the brain, which is right here, and is such an important junction. It's the junction where everything between like a person and the transpersonal connection with the world and the universe happens. So it's this hugely important place, and our capacity to move into gratitude is also part of the art of rigor in resonance. Okay, Jaya, are you ready?
Just about.
Okay, and 12 minutes, Jaya.
Okay, I'm almost there. Bear with me, folks. Okay, grabbing a few folks. I'm going to scatter assistance throughout. I'll be sending them in afterwards. Okay. All right, so if you ask for no breakout room, you'll still get an invitation to a room that says no breakout room. This is just a quiet space. And of course, you are welcome to not go, but there may be chatter in this room, so we ask you to stay muted. All right, 1 second. All right, hopefully I caught everyone's requests. Thanks for bearing with me, Sarah, and everybody else.
Thank you so much, Jaya. I'm really grateful that you're helping us out with this.
We put the instructions back into the chat so they're nice and fresh for you. And again, I'll be sprinkling assistance in after I open up rooms. So if you need any support with that, we'll get you set up. All right, opening up rooms.
Oh, wonderful, and welcome back as you arrive. Everybody's here, yeah? Okay. Let me just do a quick, if you'd like to, just kind of give me a sense of, did you get to find your warmth for somebody else? Did you get to attune? Just so you can kind of do it on a you can give me a little bit of a visual so that I can see how's it going out there. Oh, so sweet to see you all. What a lovely thing. All right. And now what we'll do is we'll go on with the slides. And here I go. So the warmth of our welcome attunement is indispensable for resonance. It is the keystone that keeps the entire structure from collapsing. There's something else that the warmth does, which is quite complex and comes in later years of study, or perhaps right away if you're one of those people who's like, no, I want to study it now. But that is what the warmth does, is it helps us recognize when the broken mother field has intruded into the interpersonal space. So if we start from a presupposed foundation place of warmth, then if we begin to feel contempt for our partner or judgments, then we'll know that it's happening. We'll be able to keep an eye on our warmth meter. And as we slip out into judgment, we're slipping out of resonance. So if we're staying neutral, we can't tell if we're slipping into judgment, because judgment can be a very neutral, kind of a cold place. So if we begin with coldness, we won't know whether or not we're staying in resonance. When we make another person the focus of our attention, our brain starts to reproduce their brain. In this moment, when I see this moving thing on the screen, I feel so much delight that I, a person who is absolutely baffled by technology, was able to put an image on here that moves. So I'm just having a little delight in case you're the focus of your attention and you're feeling delight for some reason that you don't understand. Okay. If we wait a little longer after the welcome attunement, the sensations in our torso start to change and we begin to synchronize more with the other person. We start to attune with them. And so as we start to attune with them, our bodies begin to respond to their bodies. And there are different elements of attunement in relational space that we're responding to without even knowing it. Eye contact less on Zoom because we can't necessarily tell about eye contact on Zoom. Facial expression, tone of voice, posture, gesture, rhythm and timing, intensity, weight, not physical, like how much do I weigh, but rather where is the body, where and how is the body in response to gravity. Distance, and also weight shows up in touch. So it's like we are inviting ourselves to tune in with another person. And then, yikes, now there would be the sound of screeching brakes if I were even more technologically competent. But I just wrote it in here so you can imagine it. The sound of screeching brakes. What about contagion? What about attuning to somebody else, feeling what they're feeling, and then not being able to get rid of it? Oh my goodness. And this actually is something that scientists talk about. They talk about contagion. We are physiologically made to choicelessly feel with close others. So when they are angry, we may feel anger. When they are sad, we become sad. This is called contagion. It's part of research. It's part of what humans do. It's choiceless. It's being pulled into the water of emotions without our consent. Now, just as an aside, also an advanced piece of study, but it's always interesting to know what the advanced pieces of study might be. The reason that we are choiceless with being pulled into emotional connection with others is usually because we had our disgust circuit, our healthy disgust circuit, obliterated by the way that we were raised, that it wasn't polite to have disgust, that we couldn't know we had boundaries, that we could never say no, all of these things. And so part of what we learn as we begin to enter the resonance journey is we start to learn what contracts we can release that make us choiceless. So it may be that you're like, oh my goodness, I have this contract. if you have this contract to always feel with other people, no matter what, then what we'll do is we'll say, you get to do the same thing we did with the terror, right? You get to say, okay, I'm worried about choicelessness. I have a history of choicelessness. I'm going to let myself feel that for a little moment, that it's scary for me. And then I'm going to say, okay, and just for today, I'll put it aside for a moment to see if I can do the tuning in and tuning out. If I can open and then close. It's a bit like practicing opening and closing your hand. If you have been immobilized, if you've been immobilized in a cast for a long time, and you start to flex your fingers, you get to just try, because you have full authorization in this class and in all the resonance classes to say, no, I don't want to feel. I get to close down. I get to go off and get my support and do my work with my contracts, and I can change the sign in front of my name at any time. I can put an equal sign in front of my name and say, nope, this is not for me. However, the rest of the class is very much based on this opening to what might be happening with somebody else. Once again, do you remember how I said we can't do resonance without doing our trauma work? It's in the same part of the brain. So we get to acknowledge that today and just see if we can work around it with compassionate acknowledgement. Because this material is just absolutely stunningly fascinating. And if we've got experiences of trauma, then it's even more fascinating, because we've often been told by the world and therapy and therapists that there's something wrong with us and that it can't be made right. At any rate, that was the message that I received until I stumbled across this material and I was like, what? My brain is changing. I am having a kind of a fun time living in my brain in this world, even though it used to be a very difficult place to live, my brain. So we'll go on and see how we do here. What we want to do is move from choiceless contagion to attunement. In attunement, our choicefulness and consent differentiate contagion, where we're pulled into feeling the same emotions someone else close to us is feeling. We're differentiating contagion from attunement, where we choose to make someone else the center of our attention and notice how that changes our body sensations. So in attunement, we are not becoming the other person. We are not taking on the other person's feelings. Instead, we're allowing our body. Do you guys remember Etch-a-Sketch, where you had that the little red plastic box and the little thingamajigs, and you got to see what picture you could make by moving the little white dials? It's like we're doing Etch-a-Sketch with our attunement. We're we're like shaking off our body sensations, our own. And then we're allowing ourselves to become a little bit of a blank palette, not palette, palette's where you put the paints, a blank canvas. And then we get the impression of what's happening for the other person, and then we let it go. Okay? So let's go on with the slides and see where they take us. So if contagion naturally exists, is it scary or dangerous to open up to others like this? When we were little babies or small children, we were dependent on the other's emotional states for our safety and well-being, and we didn't have choice about what our nervous systems were doing. We merged automatically. We were born merged. We don't have the neurons, which are left hemisphere neurons, when we're born, to be able to tell that we're different from the people around us. We are them. We're in a state of absolute communion as babies. And we're dependent on others' emotional states for our safety and well-being. And it could be scary if the people around us were having a difficult time and we were merged with them, in which case we would learn very early patterns of dissociation to allow ourselves to not have to deal with the contagion. Now that we are grown, we are not dependent on others in the same way. Now we have choice and we can tune in and then tune out again. If we don't feel like we have choice about tuning in and tuning out, this means we have a contract that makes us put our nervous system at the service of others. So if it feels true for you, respect your own no and don't do the breakouts that feel iffy to you. Just put the little equal sign before your name. It doesn't mean you don't want to do this material or learn this material. It simply means that you've got a contract that might be getting in the way. So now I'm going to do this demo again, and I'll work with 2 different assistants this time, because you might be in a room with different people. So if I could have 2 other assistants raise their hands, that would be amazing. Thank you to Anna. Thank you to Lucy. Oh, what a pleasure. Okay. So we have the instructions in the chat. Or we will have the instructions in the chat in just a moment.
As soon as my computer allows me to put them in.
Aha.
All right, it'll be in 2 parts.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So this exercise is called attunement to another's experience. So that first attunement was just allowing our bodies to notice another person exists and finding our welcome. Now this one, we're going to go a little bit deeper. So Anna, would you like to have a worry and have us attune to you, or would you like Lucy to have a worry and have us attune to Lucy? Hold on, I'm going to ask you to unmute because, of course, I have to do that. Yes.
I can have a worry.
You have a worry?
Yeah.
Okay. So Anna will be our B. So the first instruction is ask Anna to choose a worry or concern that is alive enough for her that her body changes when she thinks about it. Ask her to think about the issue and notice her body sensations without talking about them. So don't tell us your body sensations yet. Got it? Do you have it, Anna? Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So then Lucy and I, we're going to notice our own bodies, and then we're going to bring our attention to Anna. As we bring our attention to Anna, there'll be the welcome attunement, or the terror and welcome attunement, and we will then wait for our body's sensations to shift and deepen. We have to wait a little bit, just because it takes a few seconds for the body to notice, oh, we're attuning to Anna. Oh, there's a deeper thing here to attune to. So Anna's thinking about a worry. So as we attune, if we stay in radiance, we're not going into the deeper place. It probably means that we have a contract against attuning. So just say, oh, I'm not finding a deeper place beyond radiance. I must have a contract. If you end up in a room with somebody, and push the call for help button if that happens, and we'll send an assistant in to be able to attune to your person if you're in a room with just 2 people. So now I'm going to stop for a moment and find my own sensations. And then I'm going to bring my attention to Anna, and I'm going to ride through the welcome attunement, which changes my body and my face. Okay, now I'm starting to get something deep in my belly. It says my next thing is to share these changes with Anna, and after I do it, then Lucy will share her changes with Anna too. So what I'm getting on it is a lot of belly stuff. Like my intestines are kind of like writhing a little bit, and they're alternating between freezing and writhing and freezing and writhing. And I'm breathless. And Lucy, what happens for you as you attune to Anna in her? And now I'm just going to let that go, right? Just practice that in your as you're in your turn plate taking. Just let yourself be and etch a sketch and just let the sensations go. Yes, Lucy, please tell us.
So attuning to myself first, it was quite clear, except a bit of butterflies in my tummy. And then when I attuned the welcome one to Anna, then there was a kind of rising warmth from my belly to my chest. And then when I waited and attuned to the worry and what Anna was carrying, then there's like a slow squeeze in my belly, like a real pressure just coming on slowly.
So now Anna gets to reply with, and then we are also supposed to say these words, which actually I forgot to guide us to say, Lucy. When I attune with you, thinking about your issue, I feel ... Is it anything like that for you? So we can both say, is it anything like that for you, Anna? You can say it too, Lucy.
Is it anything like that for you, Anna?
I'm amazed how precise you are today. Because I am breathless and I have a lot of stuff going in my belly too.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Anna. And now we let Anna go as the focus of our attention, and we bring our attention back to ourselves. So Lucy and I just be sure that we bring ourselves back. And then we would, in the small group, we would rotate. So again, just to model it, if I had the terror, then I would say, hang on a moment, Anna. I have the terror of new people. Let me take a moment. Yes, it makes sense given my history. Okay, I'm finding you as someone all by themselves who is different from everyone else that I'm afraid of. And now I'll let myself attune a little bit. Okay, so there's that modeling of being able to talk about the terror. And then if it's just thoughts that I'm getting, then I would be like, okay, I'm trying to remember again, like trying to remember, do I have all the things? Have I said all the things? And then I bring my attention to Anna. There's a welcome change in my thoughts. Then as I attune more deeply, it's almost like it makes my brain hurt, my thoughts. And then as I tune there, I notice that I have some tears in my eyes. And Lucy, if you do your thoughts, what happens with your thoughts changing if you bring your attention to Anna?
So I noticed some kind of worry and concern for her, and I'm curious to know what's going on and whether I might have done anything to upset her. And is there anything I can do to help her? There's kind of
those kinds of thoughts. Thank you. Anna, how was this for you? How was it to have people attuned to you?
I felt relieved that I am not alone and somebody is catching like the enormity of the worry that I brought to this exercise.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you.
And let me check with Jaya. Jaya, how are you doing there?
I need to make one change. It'll take me probably 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay. So I'll do a need met and a gift received for Anna. Presence and just somehow getting to bow to the really big things that we worry about. And Lucy, do you want to say a need met or a gift received for Anna?
So needs met for authenticity and for care.
Thank you very much. All right, Jaya, how did we do?
Okay, let me just double check. There's just one more room I need to add, and then I'll put the instructions back in the chat.
And thank you to Jacqueline or somebody who asked about how long will this exercise be. This one's a little more complex, so it'll be a little longer. So this one will be, let's do 18 minutes, Jaya.
Okay. All right, let me put these instructions back in the chat. Again, in 2 parts for you. They're easy to find. All right, 18 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and open up rooms. And please time for your group, because groups are different sizes. And so you can decide how to divide up the time.
Thanks, Jaya.
And there's one person who removed their equal sign. Let me just grab them out of there. All right. Almost there. Opening up rooms. If you just recently joined, I'll check in with you in a moment.
Come back. So the rigor here now is that we begin to kind of create a relationship in this work between our conscious awareness and including our conscious awareness of our body and how it's responding into our conscious awareness, like it's like an invitation that we're constantly involved with, where we're saying, yes, yes, body, you are a part of my conscious awareness. Yes, I'm connecting to you. Emma says, is there a break at some point? Emma, this is an ideal moment for a break. Let's just do a short one, though. Let's just do 6 minutes for bio care, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the art. We'll look at resonance. We'll start to move into experiences of resonance now that we've got a sense of the attunement. Oh, now 5. Yeah, so just coming back in 5 minutes, actually, at the bottom of the hour or the top of the hour in India. Welcome back. So about 40% of the time when I tell somebody, and I neglected to say this, if one of those things I forgot this time, and my apologies, about 40% of the time when I say what my body sensations are, the person says, yes, those are similar to my body sensations. About 60% of the time, the person says, no, it's not my stomach at all. It's like a ringing in my ears and my throat is so tight. So what we get to do is begin to be able to say, oh, thank you for making a guess for me, and here's what's happening for me. And that sort of redirection and more information will help our partner get even more attuned to us. And then there was a question about radiance. I said, if you stay in the radiance, then you're not moving into the deeper attunement. So the radiance was just a kind of a shortened word, which I did not explain, for the experience of the welcome attunement. The feeling of some kind of rising or warming or expanding or glowing or radiantly being. So if someone else is thinking about something that they're worried about, and so if I'm hanging out with Peggy, and Peggy says, Sarah, I'm so worried, and I say, I'm going to take a moment and attune to you, Peggy. Oh, I just feel so wonderful. I just feel this glowing heart. This is me in my welcome attunement of Peggy, not in my attunement to Peggy's issue, because Peggy's so worried, but my body is in radiance, right? So I need to stop and wait and acknowledge how much I love Peggy. And then I get to start to feel more stuff happening in my belly. And I go, okay, I can sort of feel something in my belly. Is there anything in your belly? What's it like for you? And Peggy gets to tell me the truth. No, nothing in my belly, Sarah, but it's something in my heart. Now we're kind of getting closer to the truth. We're getting closer to resonance. I can go, oh, the heart. Oh, and there we are. There we are in a two-person system where feedback is welcome. And I neglected to give you this information going in. So very glad to those of you who asked for it. And thank you. All right, now we're going to talk about resonance. And what is resonance? Resonance is feeling into something that someone else is experiencing with them. Not feeling their feelings, not being consumed by them, but feeling into something with them. Being moved by a sense of their emotions and energy, and asking, verbally or non-verbally, whether what we're perceiving has any relationship with what they are feeling. And this process, bringing both people into more connection and understanding with each other. How can we tell if resonance is happening? If resonance is happening, our body sensations start to change in response to someone else getting us. This is an end state here that we're seeing on our picture. Before this, things might become more intense. So if I'm doing resonance for somebody who's not received resonance before about an issue, then there can be a bursting of pain, of even agony, of intensity, rage, grief, terror, disgust. And this, so sometimes as we do resonance, we're coming out of a freeze, we're coming into sympathetic activation in order to come out of our freeze. And so there's something big and intense, and then we're holding that and acknowledging that with the other person. And then eventually we're getting to this lovely end state that's shown here. We're going to do something sort of absolutely wonderful now. And this is facial expression resonance. So if I could have two assistants who have not yet volunteered, who would be willing to be my facial expression assistants, that would be wonderful. And I have, oh, wonderful. I have Gail and Hummingbird Jane. Thank you, Dia. We'll catch you on the next one. All right. So now, Gail, will you be our bee? Will you be the person who has a confusing issue? Okay, let's check and see where we've got this in the chat. There we go. Okay. Now, B. Oh, and Fred mentioned that in their group, they had somebody read the instructions aloud, which was very helpful. And so I recommend that highly. If you're in a small group, that somebody can read the instructions. So breakout activity, facial expression resonance. Gail, think of a confusing moment from last week. Notice how your body responds, and tell me and Hummingbird Jane about your body sensations. Oh, I have to ask you to unmute. I beg your pardon.
There, I've got it now. Okay, good. Thanks. Yeah, confusing time from last week was when I was discovering something that I.
Oh, wait, don't tell me it yet. Just tell me your body sensations to start.
Body sensations, okay. Yeah, there's some churning in my abdomen. There's some tightness here in my jaw and heaviness in my shoulders.
Okay. So now Jane and I get to attune to you, which means we'll bring our attention to you. And then there might be there's going to be a welcome attunement, might be a terror and welcome attunement. And then, okay. So I start to get sensations in my torso, down in my belly. Like my sensation is almost like sort of intense, but like a shotgun, like I've taken a shotgun blow right with little pellets, all different little pellets right into my solar plexus. Oh, yeah, between my belly button and my solar plexus. And Hummingbird Jane, as you attune to Gail, what happens to your body sensations?
Yeah,
past the welcome attunement, which is kind of leaning forward and warmth in my face, I get a tension in below my diaphragm, and my diaphragm's tightening up, and there's some tension in my lungs and going up to my throat.
Thank you. So now, Gail, tell us that confusing moment. Be specific. Begin with the words, it was the moment when, and do that thing where you count with 3 with your fingers with each sentence, so that people start to get used to that, to that limitation that we have of 3 sentences.
Okay. It was the moment when I realized I was doing something that I was blaming someone else for causing. And I realized that, oh, this is a habit that I'm just doing and I'm not thinking about it at all. And it was like a wow, and kind of some confusion about, oh, what does this mean now?
Okay, thank you. Now, both Hummingbird Jane and I get to make facial expressions. So we'll do this in turns. I'll make a facial expression, and then Gail will. I'll say, "Is it anything like this?" And Gail will say, "It's more like this." And then she'll make their facial expression, and I'll try to match it. And then Hummingbird Jane will do it. So, Gail, in that moment, was it like?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, it did feel like that. You caught that well. Thank you.
And now, just to bring it fresh for Hummingbird Jane, when you think of that moment now, how's your body doing? Gail, how does your body do so we make it fresh for Hummingbird Jane, since we got a good yes on that one. If you think.
Yeah, the tension like that was in, and when you had mentioned before about those shotgun, that has lessened, and it's just sort of more of a warmth in my abdomen now. And it was really nice to access some joy, a little bit of like, wow, you got that. And it was a little bit of play.
Okay, so so it's not alive anymore. The resonance was enough that Gail's experience shifted. But we want to have Hummingbird Jane do a facial expression too. So choose something else that's a little bit confusing and tell us 3 sentences about it, Gail.
Well, how am I going to change this now that I know I can't blame anybody else? And yeah, just I got to come back to me. It's like, oh man, I got to come back to me.
Okay. And so, Hummingbird Jane, you get to do a facial expression.
Is it anything like that? Like,
yeah, and it was like that, and then kind of, and then sort of a, oh my God, I'm human still.
So then Jane and I get to do her facial expression more like this. We get to say,
yeah, more like that. Dang, I thought I was doing it better.
Oh, what a wonder. Thank you very much, both of you. And then we thank each other, and then we'd rotate so that each person gets a chance. Jaya, how close are you to being able to do it? Fairly close? Okay, then we'll just do a need met and a gift received. Gail, need met for exploration and fun. Hummingbird Jane, would you like to say that?
Need met for truth-telling and finding some joy in the movement. Yeah.
Thank you both so much. Okay, Jaya, well, I think this one is another 18-minute one.
Okay, let me just do a quick scan through. Again, if you've asked for no breakout room, you'll get invited to just a no breakout room. And I've taken a couple people out of there who've asked to be removed. Okay, I'll do a scan through once I open just to make sure that nobody has changed their mind, but I think everything's in good shape. We'll see you in 18 minutes. Again, thank you.
Very much. Back, everyone. How many people had their body sensations change when they thought about their confusing issue in response to the facial expression? Do the visual for me, and let me see how it went for you out there. Oh, it's wonderful to see. Isn't that fun? What resonance does? How it touches us and so deeply, and so immediately. There's something about being understood that we need so desperately as humans that we just kind of don't even acknowledge the depth of our need for that. And on a level that is rarely conscious, we can tell immediately whether people's nonverbals are resonant. Isn't that interesting that you looked at the facial expression and you knew what you wanted to be different with the facial expression? But our verbal expressions slide out of resonance in the blink of an eye, and we're so used to non-resonant language that we often don't even realize, oh my goodness, my partner has slid right out of resonance. And we don't even notice that we ourselves have slid out of resonance. And this is why rigor is absolutely key. When we practice with rigor, we are able to move toward both mastery and flow. Modern neuroscience distinguishes between two mental states, one of striving, where a surge of dopamine keeps us laser focused on external goals like winning, perfection, or achievement, and another of serene presence, where we hover in the moment, simply being. In this latter state, our neurochemistry shifts. Endogenous opioids and endocannabinoids fill the brain, bringing feelings of deep satisfaction, fulfillment, and joy in the now. So, when we practice our resonance with rigor, when we're careful about staying in resonance, we're initially having to go through a period where we're using our dopamine to be able to stay that focused. Like we're really, the experience of the practice requires quite a lot of commitment and care and attention. And then as we begin to tell the difference between resonance and non-resonance, then we start to move into this wonderful flow state where we have a part of our attention monitoring our resonance to make sure we're staying in it, but a part of our attention is just in that wonderful river of flow. If we take care with our language, it allows us to be consistently resonant. And our care with language allows us to unlock our own and others' brains. Consistent resonance allows us to birth and nurture a living, healing, interpersonal field with another person. And when we slip out of resonance, we kill the interpersonal field. We need repetition with a rigorous focus on staying in resonance. The repeated movements of our craft, the physical routines that we practice over and over, follow us everywhere. Whether we call it practice or technique, these repeated actions shape our brains in powerful ways, often without us even realizing it. We need to practice resonance enough that staying in resonance is flow. Repeating something consciously, in this context, meaning exercising the prefrontal systems of the brain, is quite effortful, and it needs a lot of attention and energy resources. Therefore, our brain starts to forge connections that let the movements we're practicing pass from explicit, effortful memory systems into implicit, almost automatic memory systems. And facial expressions are our first emotional vocabulary. So we are all very practiced at a level below conscious awareness at tracking and interpreting facial expressions. But language is different. We need to practice resonance enough that we can tell when we're being pulled out of it so that we can stop and return to resonance and keep the field alive. The idea is to program the right moves in our brain so that they become so automatic we can use them to, yes, feel and to find flow. The romantic painter J.M.W. Turner, well known for his wild seascapes, continued attending life drawing classes at the Royal Academy where he'd been a student to practice the basic moves of his craft. In so doing, he kept exercising the fine motor skill needed to draw. Slowly, connections were made between different neural systems. Turner's skill was powered not only by explicit, effortful connections of the prefrontal systems, but also ultimately by implicit procedural memory systems and enabled flow. This is what musicians are doing when they're practicing the scales. And in resonant language, we have scales too. We have the 9 forms of resonant language. Each of these types of language shows in research that it happens in the right hemisphere. The right hemisphere is the home of resonance. It is the home of self-connection. It is the home of body sensations, and it is also the home of unprocessed trauma. So here we are with this convergence, this need to heal our trauma, as well as to begin to open the doors to just knowing the landscape and being able to stay in it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a demo of this body sensations exercise. We won't have time to do it. So I'll have a little time for some questions before we move to the section where we talk about the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. So here are some body sensations. You'll notice that they're different from emotions. So the somatic or felt sense vocabulary includes words like achy, clenched, hollow, pounding, restless, suffocating, wobbly, throbbing, inflated, constricted, dense. These are body sensation words. And body sensations are different than feelings: scared, happy, sad, angry, excited, worried, surprised, silly, frustrated. And the part of the brain that tells us about our body sensations is the insula. And you can see the insula here. It's like there are 2 layers of cortex on the sides of the brain. And if we kind of open up 2 of the outer folds, then we get to see the fold inside. It's a bit like there's there's brain matter here. If this is the brain in the palm of the hand and this is our cortex, there's brain matter here, and there's brain matter here, and there's brain matter here. And the insula is tucked inside. The insula is important to us because when nobody has talked to us about body sensations, it doesn't know to light up. So if you're in this class and you're thinking, geez, I don't get my body sensations, I don't know what's happening with body sensations, then it's not because there's something wrong with you. It is because nobody ever talked to you about your body sensations or gave you a sense that they were important. And in fact, the insula being alive is of immense importance because its capacity to be active and contribute to us makes us much more resilient to dissociation and much more resilient to post-traumatic stress disorder. So, these are very interesting things. The work of resonance awakens the insula. So we get to begin to awaken our insulas. And we'll take more questions at the end. So now I'm going to do this breakout. You won't do this breakout because we only have another 18 minutes of this part of our experience. So I'll do this with two more assistants. If I have Dia, are you still with us? If you are, then you can be one of my buddies this time. And then one other assistant who's also willing. Yay for Dia. Okay, yay, Joshua. Okay, so Joshua and Dia. Now we'll get us spotlit.
I'm trying to get Josh set up. One
Joshua,
second.
will you raise your Zoom hand for Gayatri to be able to find you easily? There you are.
Oh, sorry.
People disappear in all these screens. Wonderful. Okay, so Dia, you get to be our B. So you get to tell me and Josh 3 sentences. Oh, yes, 3 sentences about something that worries you. And you notice, but don't share your body sensations. And then, unfortunately for me and Josh, our first task is to offer you reassurance, some form of, I'm sure it's going to be okay. Okay, so tell us do the finger pointing counting thing so that people know to do 3 sentences. Oh wait, I have to you have to come off mute. I'll ask you to come off mute. Okay.
Right on top of my head, my parents are unwell, and so that worries me. They are not listening to any suggestions of ways I can care for them, and they're closer, but they're still far away. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be okay, Dia. Okay.
Yeah, I bet your parents will get better soon.
Okay, so Dia gets to notice but not share her body sensations yet. And now Josh and I get to attune to Dia again, which you'll remember. We notice ourselves first. We bring our attention to Dia. There's the welcome attunement. And that's the welcome attunement is not an attunement to Dia. It's an attunement to our own delight and warmth. We wait longer. New sensations start to arise. In my case, there was the sparkly heart. And then as I began to attune more deeply, such an ache in my heart. So I'll start. It says here, remind me of your worry with 1 sentence. And then I'll do my body sensations.
Yeah, my parents are unwell and not receiving my care.
When I attune to you, my heart implodes with pain. It explodes inward with pain. And then before we find out how you're doing, let's let Joshua do what his body sensations are.
Yeah, my initial warm welcome was like fireflies scattering across the field of my inner world, and then they all sort of subsided, and instead it felt like this this gurgling or bubbling up from my belly into my chest, like mud or something a little. Yeah, this kind of feeling coming up into my chest and a heaviness.
Yeah.
So then we get to say, is it anything like that for you, Daya?
Yeah. There's the clenching and the icky stickiness that's there. And there is a fluttering that's happening, like my eyes and face. Yeah. Sort of restlessness in the body.
And now you get to share if you have a sense of any change as a result. Share this contrast between what it was like to receive reassurance, what it was like to receive body sensations.
Yeah. The reassurance immediately made my face go like tight. I was clenching my teeth, and at the moment, like also like I'm gonna punch you. But yeah, the body sensations helped me get in touch also with what was the clenching, the ickiness that was happening, and also helped me realize the fluttering that was happening, notice the fluttering that was happening. And it helps me breathe more freely.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Thank you both.
Yeah. So now we'll do a need met from each of us. Daya, need met for getting to imaginally be with you for a little moment.
Yeah, need met for connection and care, accompaniment.
Thank you. Thank you both.
And then, of course, if we were in a small group, we would rotate and each of us would get a chance to try this out, to feel this difference, because this difference is really, it's really where our work begins. What we've done today is the foundation for everything that comes after, for all of the resonance work that we do moving forward from this place. And you may be studying resonance in order to deepen self-connection, in which case there's self-attunement, and it's wonderful to do a welcome self-attunement, and even to have it as like a waking practice when you wake up to do self-attunement. And then then there's you can do an attunement more deeply as you begin to make guesses for yourself and listen to the different voices that you have going that you want to be resonant with. You may be using resonance just to make your family lives or your work lives sweeter with other people, in which case what you've learned today will allow you to deepen and welcome and find new ways to connect with people, even if you never study any resonant language again. And then the third possibility is what we'll be moving toward in 10 minutes, which is the possibility of becoming a resonant healing practitioner and learning this peer-based practice of being able to be with people in really intense places and support dynamic, radical, extraordinary brain change that changes the world. So you have come and you have learned this opening most foundational part. That we'll send out an email with the two exercises that we didn't get to do today, and you'll also have access to the slides. Let me just quickly take you through these some last informational slides. Language moves so very easily out of resonance into the instrumental, the transactional. It's like a gravitational pull. The instrumental feels good. It gives us dopamine. When we try to fix, when we reassure, offer advice, when we contradict people, when we dismiss people, when we judge people, when we change the subject, when we tell a story about ourselves, when we feel sorry for someone, when we offer a reframe, all of these things give us dopamine. We're not looking for dopamine in resonance work. We're looking for something deeper. We're looking for endogenous opioids and endocannabinoids and the space of flow. It's deeply nourishing. It's not a one-time hit. So when it's dopamine, it feels good. It feels right to just offer a solution. Just do it. But instrumental language fails the test. Did the other person's body sensations change for the better? The invisibleness of the edges of resonant language, of the guardrails of resonant language, gets people into trouble, and they are easily pulled into the instrumental. It takes very focused work to begin to recognize those guardrails and stay within them in our language. So that's what I had wanted to bring you today. And now we'll go to some questions. You might have questions. You can raise your hand. I have 7 minutes for questions. And
just know that if you raise your hand, this will be on YouTube.
All right.
So if you prefer to put it in the chat, that's another option.
Yeah.
You can also send it privately through to me.
Oh, that's right, Jaya can.
Many people have choice about.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jaya. I'm so glad for you to remember and remind us. And Albert says, is body sensation the same as felt sense that Genlin explored? Body sensations are the foundation for felt sense, but felt sense is even more juicy and even more rich and multifaceted and multidimensional. And Albert, just for your information, we actually do felt sense time travels in resonance work for trauma when there's not a clear memory, just that body sense that has so many dimensions in the memory of a series of bad things happening, for example. So we use felt sense, but not in the same way that Genlin does. And then there's some wonderful responses to the question, how do you practice resonance by yourself? I like those answers. Anya, hello. Oh, you have to do ask to unmute. I beg your pardon.
Okay.
There we go.
Hi, Sarah. This is really, really interesting, really helpful. I'm about to restart going through the workbook with the incarcerated men that I work with. And so this framing, because they really they resist attunement so much with each other. They say it's okay with a woman, but doing it with a guy feels so weird. And so this is stuff I can speak to them about, and how this is how this is useful, and also that it's helpful in developing their resistance to their ability to metabolize trauma and not accumulate new trauma. But my question is about the chemistry. So you mentioned dopaminoids, and you mentioned endo opioids and something cannabinoids.
Yeah.
And could you just do a word or two about why one is better than the other?
Yeah. Dopamine is our reward neurotransmitter. And especially when we're working with folks who are incarcerated, they've often had a very intimate experience with dopamine in the form of crystal meth, in the form of the pursuit of addictions with intensity. But what we're looking for is something different. We're looking for the endogenous opioids and the endogenous cannabinoids, the endocannabinoids, which are the same chemical as the chemistry of cannabis, of marijuana. And we have extensive endocannabinoid systems inside our body. This endocannabinoid system is essential for homeostasis and well-being. And so there is an element to the experience of being in resonance with one another, which is deep play. Endocannabinoids are the neurotransmitters of the play system.
Mhm.
And so it's not that one's exactly better, because dopamine sure helps us get things done. It's our energy. It's the foundation of our energy, of our movement through the world. But when we can have places and spaces where we get to experience endocannabinoids and endogenous opioids, and over time, as we form relationships with people that are resonant relationships, also oxytocin, the bonding hormone, then our bodies get a deep and refreshing and rejuvenating rest in a space of deep play and self-exploration. How's that, Tanya?
That's really good. So I'm guessing that dopamine is more instrumental and these others are more relational.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And there's just 2 more minutes, and so I'll just catch JC here. Hello to JC. Oh, let me ask you to unmute. That'll help.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for this. This was so refreshing. What I wanted to ask is sometimes we're surrounded by people who want to have that dopamine. And my question is, how do we make sure that we don't feel injured by that dopamine? And the second part, the flip side of that is, if we have someone who is trying to do the latter, how do we show them the care and acknowledgement? That's
Right,
it.
right. Oh, what a great question, JC. We live in such a world where people are just trying to get things done. Everybody's under so much stress. My recommendation is to start with is to get resonance partners, to get into classes and get resonance partners, and so that you've got a place to get resonance. And with the people who are staying so instrumental, to start practicing the welcome attunement at least once a day and telling them about it. Oh, yes, I'll do that in just a moment, but let me take a moment to enjoy your presence before I do this thing you're asking me to do. And then we're offering something completely different from the way that they're living. Yeah. And that's just a starting point. There's lots of other ways to begin to practice and learn resonant language and make little resonant offerings in the middle of busy, stressful days. How is it to hear this, JC? Oh, here, I have to unmute you again. Oh, I get a thumb up. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Jaya, we're right at our 10:30 mark in the Pacific Northwest. What would you like to say?
I wondered if you had just a couple of words you could say. A couple of people asked about how can we offer resonance to ourselves. Can you say a few things about self-resonance?
Yes,
As we
absolutely.
transition away.
I think the guided meditations are actually a fabulous starting point, and they're a free download that maybe Jaya will be able to find the link for. And then you can begin to hear these guided meditations, and they'll offer you strategies and ways to talk to yourself, to be able to say, oh, Sarah, do you need acknowledgement of how beautiful and exciting it was to make this offering and to see people's needs met? And is it so sweet to you? And then your body just starts to calm in the presence of your own voice. It just, getting into a class and learning resonant language is such an interesting and good way to do it. And then you can take it home and work on it with your own self. And here's our our next offering for resonant language. There are a number of foundational courses that can be taken in any order, and you just happen to be right on time to start the series with the Resonant Healing 101 language that connects, that starts on Wednesdays at 10:30 on June 18. So that is a starting point. Thank you, Jaya, for asking that question that so many people were wondering about. Yeah. All right. Well, now we're going to switch. So for those of you who were here just for the resonance, the art of rigor in the craft of resonance, thank you for being with us. And if you can stay and you're interested in the Resonant Healing Practitioner program, Gayatri and Lori and I will take you through that. Okay. Hello to these wonderful folks who are the co-directors of the Resonant Healing Practitioner program, and we have some slides for you that are connected with the program. Is there anything that Gayatri you would like to say before we open the slides?
No, I think it's been a delightful 2.5 hours, and we're really happy that we get to present a bit about the upcoming cohort.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd just like to welcome everybody who's interested in joining the program and learning more about it.
Thank you. And if you're opening the slide deck, Lori, is that what you're doing?
Is it the right screen?
Yes. No. Let's see. We're getting.
Sure. Okay. Try this here. Now is it working?
Yes. Now it's working.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, are you going to talk, Sarah, or how would you like to do?
Talk for the first part, and then you guys can do the logistics. How's that sound? Okay. So, in this year-long program, the participants learn to guide resonant healing sessions and support effective, deep, and sustained healing and brain change for themselves, their clients, and their empathy buddies. After certification, you'll be able to work with clients in individual sessions, supplement your current professional work in any kind of session work that you do or teaching that you do. You'll be able to assist in my courses, and you'll have the opportunity to support the next cohort of RHP as a journey person. The applications opened just 14 days ago and are open from June 1 to November 30. And Gayatri, would you like to do this slide?
Sure. So we do have prerequisites for people who want to apply to Sarah's upcoming cohort, the RHP certification cohort that starts in Jan 2026. And the prerequisites have to be acquired this year or have already been acquired if you're long-term students. We need you to have at least 100 hours. And I think in the next slide, we talk about how that's split across live and self-study. So 100 hours studying the resonance material. We have a requirement to have at least done 30 hours of NVC. And this can also be 12 hours if you've received an NVC class that's taken by either Sarah or Pernilla or Peggy or Asha Barrett, because it's a mix of NVC and resonance and neuroscience. We want you to have attended one of these Rigor classes like the one today. We also hope to do one more on September 27th. And we want you to have received 3 paid resonant healing sessions with certified RHP graduates. If you have at least 25% of your prerequisites done, you can apply as long as you're ready to finish everything by November 30th when applications close. And once we see your application, Lori and I would love to do an interview. And then once we set up payment plans and so on, you're good to go and to start with an orientation workshop, which will be the formal beginning of the cohort next year on Jan 3rd.
Thank you. Next. There we go.
Shall I continue, Sarah?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. In this, with 100 hours of training in resonant language, we're happy to have this split in different sort of proportions. We want at least you to have done at least 25 hours of resonance practice. This is we have logs that you can use to log your resonance practice hours. They're sample logs. They're available on our RHP webpage, and if you can't find them, you can email to help desk, and I can send it across. We want you to have done either 50 hours of live learning in classes with Sarah or with advanced practitioners who are teaching this course in other parts of the world. There are people in Poland, for example, who are advanced practitioners who teach the material in Polish. You can also do 25 hours of self-study where you take classes with Sarah that are pre-recorded and just turn in journals by watching each of the class recordings. And if you're constellation facilitators and you're enrolled in any of our constellation programs with Sarah, whether it's the Constellation Masterclass or the Constellation Neuroscience webinar series, some of your hours can come from that as well. We ask that you cap it at 33 hours. So for a total of 100 hours, 33 hours can come from constellation work, and the remaining has to come from resonance work. And we want you to have done at least one foundational resonant healing course with Sarah. The class that is just coming up, starting this Wednesday, June 18th, is one of them, Resonant Healing 101. For it to be easier, we name all the foundational courses with like numbers. So Resonant Healing 102 just happened. It was a course on untying knots of trauma. We do have 2 more foundational courses coming up. And I'm happy to, they're not on our website yet because they will be in August and in November. We call them Resonant Healing 103 and Resonant Healing 104, but I'm happy to email that to people if you want to write into help desk. And I think we've also listed this on our webpage already in the section that says prerequisites. And so this is about the NVC prerequisites, and we would like you to have either 30 hours of any kind of introductory NVC classes, or you can just have acquired like 10, 12 hours of tailored NVC that you've done with anybody, whether it's Sarah or Peggy or Asha Barrett or Pernilla. And like I said in the previous slide, 3 resonant healing sessions, and that you will continue to work in the next cohort as a journey person. So if you are in cohort 4, you will be a journey person in cohort 5.
Wonderful.
Do you want to do these? Yeah.
Yes. So now we want to talk to you about what the commitment is like for the whole year. And we'll let Lori talk about this so that we get more voices. And also, I want to say that we do have for the NVC requirement, we just realized that the NVC Academy, I'm doing a course for the NVC Academy in the fall. That Gayatri, I think I was just looking online for the link, but I couldn't find it, Gayatri. So if you can find it, that's amazing. Lori, let's hear about the commitments that people have to make.
So the commitments include all-day retreats, all retreat days. There's 21 in total over the year-long training spaced out through the year. There will be additional process work sessions with Sarah and weekly practice group meetings of 2 to 3 hours with a group that you'll form just to practice during the Resonant Healing program. There will be monthly community calls. They're 90 minutes in length, and it's there as a support, to answer questions, to help you connect with the other people going through the program. So you'll want to allow about 20 to 30 hours a month, and that would include your time for personal journeying, self-studying, extra sessions, and the retreat times. You'll need an access to a stable internet connection, and we'll want to see that you're engaged fully online in training. So if that's with Zoom, you'd be with your camera on and participating in all the breakout rooms. Okay. And this one's for Gayatri.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is something that I advocated for, and I really am happy that we're doing for this cohort. And this is an arrangement to try and make sure we can enroll people who are in time zones that are not in North America. So if you, as you might have noticed, the training runs quite late. It runs beyond midnight, and there are two halves to it. So the first half runs for 4 hours. And the idea with this alternative makeup session is that people who are attending from India or Asia get to attend the first half live. And those who are from Australia and New Zealand, this will be very early in the morning. So you still get to do the first half live and then go to bed. And then next day, before the next day actually rolls out in North America, we'll do a makeup session, and we'll do it. I'll host it. So we're doing it in our daytime, and we've all managed to get some more sleep. And we'll watch the recording, which will get posted of the 2 hours that we've not attended live. We'll make sure we're doing all the breakouts, and we're getting all the practice that everybody else in the cohort is getting. And so we're very much in sync with the rest of the cohort without having to really sacrifice, sleep and well-being. So if any of you are interested in signing up for this, you can let us know at the time of the interview, and we'll make sure to put this together and find a time that works for everybody much before the cohort begins.
Thank you
Yeah.
for doing this. I'm so glad that people get to not have to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh my goodness. So we have these requirements for certification, which we won't go through in detail today because of the time constraints, but they're all here in the slides, and we'll have this slide deck available for you as well for participants. And then there are a couple of things that you'd put on your calendar, stuff like this orientation meeting with Lori and Gayatri. And next slide. And a decolonization 2-day session on January 10th and 11th with me to be able to begin to think about how we have to learn about decolonization in order to be effective resonators, because otherwise it's one of those areas that we don't see the guardrails to, and we just slide right off the resonance into the microaggressions. So we learn about that so that we can stay in resonant space instead of going off into the left hemisphere. Next slide. And then we have our modules. We won't talk about what's in each module. This is also on the website, but here we are. There's module 1. There's a session on giving and receiving feedback. Next slide. There's module 2 from May 13 to 17. Next slide. And modules 3 and 4, October 7 to 11 and January 8 to 10. So all of this prepares you to do this beautiful, deep work with folks in any context, and begins with a focus on the self, then starts to move into bringing the skills we've learned being with ourselves into the relational space, and then deeper into session work and to the kinds of things that brains do when they've lived through trauma, things like depression, things like PTSD, things like complex PTSD. So this is our focus for this year. Next slide. There are a lot of benefits to being in the program. There's professional benefits, but there are huge personal benefits, which we'll see if we can catch some voices of assistants who are still on the call, who are willing to speak about how it was for them. Let's go to the next slide. Next slide, please. And then the next slide as well. There's investment information for you here. This is also on the website, so we won't spend the time here, but you can see that there are different payment rates for folks who are in different parts of the world. The seed tier is for folks who are in the global south or who are enduring impacts of systemic injustice. The bloom tier is for regular folks in North America and Europe and what we call the global north. And then the pollinator tier is for those who have the ability to help nourish the garden sustains the scholarship fund, and helps the work reach farther. Next slide. So the next steps on your journey are to sign up for one of the live courses beginning soon. And you've already been at the Rigor class, which so you don't have to watch the recording. And please apply with your application if you've completed at least 25% of your prerequisites. And the prerequisites need to be acquired fully by November 30th of 2025. So you'll provide both what you've done so far and then your plan to complete the prerequisites, what courses you'll be taking. Next slide. Here is an example of how to move through and get the hours that you need. And Gayatri has put both the names of the classes and that number of hours that each of the classes covers. So we won't go through that today. Yeah, and there's different kinds of themed courses that you're welcome to take. And write to us at help@sarahpeyton.com. Gayatri is our main contact for email. And Lori supports as well. And so we have a wonderful little QR code for you as well. Thank you both. Let's just check. I'll check with Gayatri and Lori, and then we'll hear from a couple of assistants who are willing to say something about how it's been for them. Gayatri, anything you'd like to say?
No, I would love to hear more voices, so let's listen to the assistants.
Okay, Lori gives a thumb up as well. So now, if you're an assistant who would like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand, and then we'll be able to catch you and hear you. All right, wonderful. And if folks would speak for like 2 or 3 minutes, Gail and Lucy, and then we'll catch other questions as well. Gail, please.
It's my honor to speak up. When the course started, it was very intense for good reason. And in 1 week, just learning about the difference between the right and left brain, I had transformation in the change of my behavior and how I interacted with people. And now I have a tribe of resonators that I can tap into anytime. So feeling supported as you move through the world. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gail. Lucy, what are you willing to say? Oh, hey, I gotta ask you to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, so I have benefited from many one-to-one sessions with Sarah over many years. And so when I came to the training course, I had a certain sort of facility, but as like a fish kind of being in the water. And then with the training course itself, it was like explaining, and here's the water, and here's what we're doing, and how to actually kind of help other people to then be able to do the healing work that you've done with me so well over the years. So it was a really interesting shift for me of kind of experiencing the right hemisphere work for many years, and then being able to actually understand it in a way that I could then more safely and knowingly offer it to people for private sessions as well.
Oh, thank you, Lucy, and thank you, Gail. It's so lovely to hear your voices. And then we'll catch questions from the room. And Catherine, hello. What would you like to say or ask?
I'd like to know if the 21 days that are scheduled for the retreats will fall on weekends.
They fall on both weekdays and weekends. Yeah.
And that would require lots of work also.
It will. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for asking, Catherine. I'm just regretting that loss. Yeah. And hello to Donna. Oh, here, ask to unmute. There we go.
There we go. Hello, I have a quick question. I've done a lot of courses. I think the last time I was on the website. Oh, I seem to have lost you. I hope you can still see me.
I can still see you. I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'll keep going then. I don't know what happened. When I was last on the website, I'd done like 72 courses. Do I still need to do the foundational resident healing course? The other requisites I already have.
Yeah, just ask Gayatri. She'll take a look at what you've got. And
okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Donna.
All right.
And hello to Lena. Oh, I have to ask you to unmute. I'm so sorry. My brain is.
Hi. No, I love it all. I'm just mourning that I'm sorry, I have to disconnect it. That it may be a no-go because of the retreat. So is online participation possible?
It's the retreats are on Zoom, so you would be. Are you in the Netherlands? Is that what NL means? Hello.
Sorry, the question was not clear. I lost the connection.
Okay, if I'm back, then are you in the Netherlands?
Yes.
Then it works fairly well. It's on Zoom, so you're starting a little bit later in the day than the early start. We have, I think, sometimes a 7 a.m. start, sometimes an 8 a.m. start for Pacific time. So it doesn't go too bad for Europe. It's a little bit worse for India, but it's not too bad for Europe. How does this sound, Lena?
I'm very happy to hear that. I thought it would be financially not possible go to the US,
No,
but
no.
it's online. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And hello to Anna. Oh, here, I'll ask you to unmute.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, I'm really, really interested in this. I did a class on resonance through the Unity Church. A woman taught it, and it was wonderful. It was 5 weeks or something.
Wonderful.
And then I got your book.
Oh.
And I'm here, and I've done pastoral care training and spiritual direction, and this feels like the missing piece in those, and I would do some of this, and this is how I've worked on healing myself, is just this stuff, but I never had a word for it, but this is like perfect. And I do spiritual direction and would love to use this, but I haven't done any official classes. I did this, but would I have enough time to get all the prerequisites done to join in January?
Yes, we had kind of mapped out, if you have flexibility with your work, then you'll be able, it would be hard to get the prerequisites killed if you have a 9 to 5 where you have present 9 to 5. If you're not, then it's quite easy to get these prerequisites filled by the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a kind of a bit of a plan mapped out in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna. And hello to Cami. Oh, here, I have to ask you to unmute.
Thank you. I was trying. So I have a question, Sarah, about, do you feel like the practitioner classes are structured more like they were today, where questions are more at the end? Or is kind of the chat questions, do they flow throughout the classes more like our typical classes that we're
The question part flows more throughout the day. Yeah.
in the practitioner program? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Cami. Today we had an incredible crew of assistants answering those chat questions. I was just kind of delighted and stunned, and felt so supported by the answers that were coming in the chat. Yeah. And hello to Louise. Oh, let me do this thing where I let you off mute. Yeah. There you are. I've got you.
Okay, I'll trust you there.
Yes, I do.
I can't. Oh, wait a second. I'll go on my other machine here. You can hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay. So this is not probably a fair question, but I'll just ask on the off chance you might know the answer. I am a Canadian government employee, and they are likely going to be downsizing our positions, and they offer education leave where they finance certain courses. If we, are being exited out of the government, basically. I'm wondering, are you aware of any situations where the Canadian government has paid for your training?
We've not had that happen yet. You'd have to just check and see if that's a.
Okay.
Not entirely true. There has been a participant who applied for a grant and got some support and had to then also gather a certain amount outside of that.
Oh, thank you, Jaya. I'm so glad you know that.
Yeah, so you can.
I'm a little confused. When you say applied for a grant, who was it? Was it the individual or the Canadian government, or?
The individual went through the Canadian government to ask for, and they provided a certain portion, and then they had to crowdfund and personally fund the addition.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, so you can investigate that for yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jaya. Thank you, Louise. And hello to Cami. Oh, here, got to do the thing.
There we go. I also forgot to ask Sarah, are there continuing education credits for the practitioner program like there are for your other classes?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
It's more expensive than we can stretch to with the amount that people are able to pay for CEUs.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, here we are right at the end of our time. If you have any more questions, you can email us at help@sarahpeyton.com. We are so grateful to have been here with you. I'm so grateful for the presence of each assistant. If there are any more assistants who want to be able to speak, we can stretch another minute or two to hear more assistant voices if there's something that wants to be said.
Put in chat or raise your hand if you'd like to speak.
And Lucy writes something really sweet in the chat. She says, not everyone who studies in this deep way wants to do this work professionally. There's no expectation on the class. It's an incredible learning and growth-filled class. Thank you very much, Lucy, for writing this.
And Dorothy also wrote similarly about the huge amount of ongoing healing by doing the program. And so the main thing, it's such a beautiful transformational program, as Gail spoke to. And the main thing is to know that by committing to the program, you're committing to be involved in all the components so that folks can have practice partners and deepen and learn. But you don't have to decide to do this in any professional way or integrate it into the work that you already do in the world.
Thank you, Jaya. Amy, I see your hand up.
Hey, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to add my voice to speak to this experience, which, as you were just saying, is ongoing. It is such a warm community, always welcoming, always there. And I wanted to speak in particular to, I so appreciate how the program was structured. I was lucky enough to be part of the first cohort. And I just found it so helpful that, it's structured so we do our own healing first, and that expands our capacity in so many amazing ways. And that it is that allows us then to be with others and support them in their journeys, accompanying them as we have been accompanied. And I just so love that about the program. So I wanted to sound that note in addition to all the others.
Thank you so much, Amy. All right. Well, it was lovely to be here with all of you. If you'd like to come off mute and say goodbye, we'd love to hear your voices.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Thank
you.
See you all.
Good night, everyone.
Love to everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jara.
So amazing to be here.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Jaya.